Pope Tagle's powerful address on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica marked the beginning of a new chapter in the history of the Catholic Church. It was a moment that brought together people from all corners of the world, united in awe and hope. As the curtains parted and Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle stepped forward, the crowd in St. Peter's Square held its breath, sensing that something momentous was unfolding before their eyes. This was not just the announcement of a new pope, but the dawn of a new era for the Church, one that was marked by diversity, compassion, and a deeper connection with the world beyond Europe. For many, Tagle's election was a surprise. He was not the most obvious candidate, yet his humility, wisdom, and deep understanding of the challenges faced by people across the globe made him a symbol of hope. As he emerged on the balcony, dressed in the traditional regalia, his calm demeanor and gentle smile reassured the faithful that they were in good hands. His presence was both familiar and unexpected, a reminder that leadership can sometimes come from the most unlikely of places. Tagle's appointment was historic not just for his personal qualities, but for the message it sent to the entire Catholic world. For the first time, a man from Asia had ascended to the papacy. His election signaled a shift in the Church's leadership, recognizing the growing influence of the global South and the diverse communities that make up the Catholic Church. This was a moment of renewal, one that emphasized the universality of the Church and the importance of embracing its diverse followers. As Tagle addressed the world for the first time, his words resonated deeply with those in St. Peter's Square and millions of Catholics worldwide. "Peace to the world," he declared, using words that transcended language and culture. His message was one of love, unity, and compassion, calling for a church that would embrace everyone, regardless of their background or beliefs. It was a message that offered hope in a world that seemed increasingly divided, a reminder that the Church had a role to play in bringing people together, especially in times of conflict and division. Pope Tagle's vision for the Church was clear. He called for a church that would be truly inclusive, a place where the marginalized, the poor, and the forgotten would find solace and support. He emphasized the importance of social justice, environmental stewardship, and interfaith dialogue. Tagle's words were a call to action, urging the faithful to live out their faith in their daily lives, to be instruments of God's love and mercy in the world. His vision was one of a church that would not just preach from the pulpit, but actively engage with the challenges facing humanity. Tagle's message was not only about the Church's role in the world, but also about the power of faith. He spoke of the need for spiritual renewal, reminding Catholics that the true strength of the Church lay not in its institutions, but in the faith and commitment of its people. It was a call to rediscover the transformative power of faith, to live out that faith with humility, prayer, and a deep relationship with God. This call for renewal was a powerful moment for many, a chance to reconnect with the essence of their beliefs and find meaning in a world that often felt uncertain and divided. The impact of Pope Tagle's speech was felt far beyond St. Peter's Square. As news of his election spread, a wave of joy and excitement rippled through Catholic communities around the world. From the bustling streets of Manila to the serene cathedrals of Europe, Tagle's election was seen as a victory not just for the Church, but for the global Catholic community. His rise to the papacy was a source of immense pride for Filipinos, who celebrated the election of their native son with passion and enthusiasm. The streets of Manila were filled with chants of "Viva el Papa," as Filipinos from all walks of life came together to celebrate the historic moment. For many, Tagle's election was not just about national pride, but about the promise of change. It symbolized a shift in the way the Catholic Church viewed the world, embracing diversity and inclusion in a way that had never been done before. Tagle's deep understanding of the challenges faced by Catholics in the developing world, particularly in Asia, resonated with millions who had long felt overlooked by the Church's leadership. His background, shaped by his experiences in the Philippines, gave him a unique perspective on the struggles of the global South, and this was reflected in his leadership style and his message to the faithful. As Pope Tagle stepped away from the podium, the applause that followed was a testament to the power of his words. His speech had not only captured the hearts of those present, but it had ignited a sense of hope and anticipation for the future of the Church. The promise of a church that was inclusive, compassionate, and forward-thinking was one that resonated with millions around the world. Tagle's election marked the beginning of a new dawn, one that would bring the Church closer to its people and its mission of service to humanity. The legacy of Pope Tagle's address would undoubtedly unfold in the years to come. His words had planted seeds of change, and as time went on, those seeds would grow and bear fruit in ways that were yet to be seen. The world had witnessed a moment of profound transformation, and the Church was on the cusp of a new era, one filled with hope, renewal, and a renewed commitment to its mission of love and service to all. Pope Tagle's election was more than just a historical moment. It was the beginning of a journey that would shape the future of the Catholic Church and the world for generations to come. As the days passed following Pope Tagle's historic address, the ripples of his words continued to spread across the globe. The world's media outlets, both religious and secular, closely followed every move he made. Newsrooms buzzed with discussions on his leadership style, his powerful message of unity, and the direction he would lead the Catholic Church. There was a renewed sense of optimism that had not been seen in the Church for years. Tagle's message of peace, compassion, and inclusivity had given many a sense of hope, a sense that the Church could evolve and adapt to the challenges of the modern world while staying true to its core teachings. What was particularly striking about Pope Tagle's leadership was how he effortlessly bridged the gap between tradition and progress. While deeply respectful of the rich history of the Catholic Church, he also understood the need for the Church to evolve and respond to the changing needs of the faithful. His emphasis on social justice and interfaith dialogue was a reflection of this balance. Tagle recognized that, in a world that is increasingly fragmented and polarized, the Church's role must be one of reconciliation, understanding, and love. He made it clear that the Church could not afford to remain stagnant in the face of modern-day challenges. It had to evolve to meet the needs of its diverse global community. Pope Tagle's approach was one of humility, and his style of leadership was often described as gentle yet firm. He did not present himself as someone who had all the answers, but rather as someone who was willing to listen, learn, and guide with empathy. His focus on creating a church that was more inclusive, that cared for the poor, the marginalized, and the forgotten, struck a chord with millions of people, particularly in the global South. For many, it was a validation of their struggles, a recognition of their existence, and an acknowledgement that the Church was there for them. His leadership style was also one that emphasized collaboration. Pope Tagle knew that he could not bring about the transformation that was so urgently needed in the Church by acting alone. He called upon the clergy, the faithful, and even those outside the Church to come together in the spirit of unity and cooperation. In this sense, his papacy seemed to signal a return to the collaborative, community-driven values that have always been at the heart of the Church's mission. Tagle was not just about leading from the top, but rather about encouraging a sense of shared responsibility among all members of the Church. The global response to his election reflected the widespread appeal of his message. From the Philippines, where Tagle's rise to the papacy was celebrated as a national triumph, to the United States, where Catholic leaders and laypeople expressed their hope that his leadership would bring the Church closer to its true mission, the sense of excitement was palpable. Catholic communities around the world began to feel that this was a time of real change, a time when their voices would be heard and when the Church could once again become a beacon of hope and a source of spiritual renewal. But perhaps one of the most profound aspects of Pope Tagle's papacy was his ability to connect with people from all walks of life. Whether he was speaking to the faithful in the Vatican or addressing a group of young people in the Philippines, his messages resonated deeply with those who heard him. His compassion, warmth, and humility were disarming, and it was clear that he cared deeply for the well-being of the people he served. In a world where many religious leaders are seen as distant or out of touch, Pope Tagle's ability to connect on a personal level was a refreshing and powerful contrast.